So, welcome to our work examples of how to use the force equals spring constant times extension equation that you will have been learning about in your recorded online lessons. So, as you'll see, the units for each of these terms are important because whenever you are trying to use this equation, you're wanting to make sure that the terms are in these units in order to get correct answers. So force, as we know, is measured in newtons. The spring constant of a spring is measured in Newton meters, and the extension of a spring is always measured in meters. So let's see if we can apply a couple of examples to this equation. So this question says find the force needed to extend a spring by 4 meters. So extend a spring by 4 meters when the spring constant is 52.3 Newton meters. Now, from what we've just said, if we look at both of these, our unit extension is in meters and our spring constant is Newton meters. So we don't need to do any converting of these terms. All we simply have to do is put them into our equation. Force equals spring constant times extension. So if we substitute out those terms and put in our numbers, we know our spring constant is 52.3. We know our extension is 4. So we simply multiply those two together. 52.3 times 4 gives you 209.2. Now remember, this is a measurement of force, so our units need to be in newtons. Then, if we have a look at a second example, find the force needed to extend a cable by 6.1 centimeters when the spring constant is 41.6 Newton meters. So, find the force needed to extend a cable by 61 centimeters when the spring constant is 41.6 Newton meters. So we know that force equals spring constant times extension. So we've got our spring constant of 41.6 Newton meters. Now, from what we said at the start, that is in correct units. 6.1 centimeters, which we need converted into units. So in order to convert between centimeters and meters, we divide 100 because there's 100 centimeters in 1 meter. So 6.1 divided by 100 gives us 0.061 meters. So now we've got extension in the units that we want. We've got our Newton meters as we want. So force equals our spring constant of 41.6 times 0.061 gives us, we multiply those two terms together, 41.6 times 0.061 gives us 2.54 rounded to 2 decimal places, and because this is a measurement of force, it's 2.54 newtons. So there we go, 2 worked examples of how to use the equation force equals spring constant times extension and how to convert back to the correct units for each of your answers.